The story getting a lot of buzz today, and rightly so. Could we see COVID vaccination made mandatory in our country in the coming months? Other nations like Austria, Germany, Italy are moving to do just that. And now it is a conversation the federal health minister says we need to have in Canada. Minister Duclos says mandatory vaccines would ultimately be up to the provinces, but is the federal government ready to push the provinces to do it and fight the inevitable opposition? The looming debate comes amid clear signs the crisis is getting worse in parts of our country. Case in point, a remote part of Ontario, the Bearskin Lake First Nation, has over half its community currently in quarantine with a state of emergency in place since late last year. They've been asking for military help for a week now. Joining me is the Indigenous Services Minister, Patty Hajdu, who previously served as Canada's Health Minister for the first 20 months of this pandemic. Minister Hajdu, thanks for taking the time for Power Play today.
My pleasure to be with you today.
And I want to get to the Bearskin Lake First Nation, but your thoughts on what the Health Minister, Minister Duclos, had to say today about vaccines, saying they're the only way out of this crisis and Canada should start to have a conversation now about mandatory vaccines.
Well, look, what we know is that vaccines are an effective tool to save lives and stop hospitalizations. In fact, that's what I'm focused on as the Indigenous Services Canada Minister, is supporting First Nations communities that in many cases have high rates of vaccination, but in other cases have somewhat lower rates of vaccination, get people protected as quickly as possible. We know that, the vaccine can present in very severe illness for people who are unvaccinated, and it increases people's risk of death dramatically. So vaccines are an important tool to protect ourselves, to protect our families, and to protect our healthcare system.
Making them mandatory, of course, would be controversial in some quarters. I mentioned other countries are doing it. Do you think it's time for Canada to do it?
Well, listen, I know that vaccine mandates have encouraged people to get vaccinated across the country, but certainly across the world. I will just repeat again, vaccines are an incredibly important tool to save lives and to prevent severe illness with COVID-19. The evidence has been extremely clear. It's emerging evidence from the UK, but certainly even Canadian evidence that people who are vaccinated have a dramatically lowered risk of hospitalization and, of course, of death. And so we need to work together to make sure that as many people as possible can get vaccinated to protect themselves and to protect their community and their families.
As a longtime health minister, you know, of course, that ultimately it would be down to the provinces and territories to do something like that, to make vaccines mandatory. How would that work exactly, though?
Listen, I'm not going to speculate about where provinces and territories are at. I do know that everybody is working incredibly hard and incredibly collaboratively to make sure that vaccines are available, that people have access to information in ways that is culturally appropriate so they can make decisions for themselves, so they can support their communities to get vaccinated. It's really important that we as leaders step up and we continually support people that are working really hard to vaccinate individuals, those that are hesitant, those that are nervous, those that perhaps aren't getting information in ways that comfort them and that give them that courage to take that step. But I will repeat, it is an incredibly important tool to save lives and to keep people healthy and, of course, to protect our healthcare system.
One other question on this. I mean, I know that the government, like all of us, looks at public opinion, and it would seem to me that a lot of Canadians who have been double or triple vaxxed now would support the idea of mandatory vaccination. Certainly, as we see this Omicron wave, people are tired, they're frustrated, and as you know, a lot of the people who are in hospital now are the unvaccinated. So, public opinion and your read on where it's at right now in our country.
Well, of course, people are tired, they're scared, and we're seeing disruptions to our everyday lives and to critical services. I mean, we're going to talk in a moment about Bearskin Lake, and when people get sick in high degrees of numbers and have to isolate, it can be incredibly disruptive. Everybody's exhausted. I'll just say this again. The saddest thing, though, are preventable deaths, and preventable deaths are, happen when people oftentimes are not vaccinated and they haven't had an opportunity to get vaccinated. They haven't taken that opportunity to get vaccinated. And so I stay focused on the work that I need to do as the Minister of Indigenous Services, which is to support First Nations communities to make sure they have access to vaccination, they have access to the resources they need to help encourage and support members in their own communities to get vaccinated. And of course, that boosters doses are available as they become available in the country.